Hi, and welcome to another Midweek Pause. My name is Emmitt Drumgoole, and I'm one of the pastors here at Second Baptist Church. And I am excited to be a part of being in this sacred space with you. And so as we consider this sacred time and this sacred space, wait 1 second. I think I've got a phone call. Not important. But as I go back to consider, I think I just got an email in the upper corner. And just like that, with an email and a phone call, the time that we are wanting to spend in our sacred space has been derailed. And so what I want to talk about this morning is the tyranny of the urgent. That is, the things that have a tendency to pop up right as we're preparing or desiring to spend time and presence with God. Now, there have been many people that have written about this. One of them is a guy by the name of Richard Foster, who has written a book entitled Prayer, if you can see that. And I'm going to read what Richard Foster says, as he has experienced some of the same things that we're talking about today. He says, "Be assured of this. Everything will try to pull you away from your sacred time. Your phone will ring. Your pen will run dry. Someone will knock at your door. You will suddenly have an urgent need to do something you have left undone for years. In that split second, you alone will decide whether you will hold steady in the inner sanctuary of the heart or rush out of the holy place, tyrannized by the urgent." Wow, I think that those words are so true, and so true for many of us, especially as we are trying to find our holy and sacred spaces during this time of COVID-19, where our rhythm of life is different, and where we have been able often to carve out this time because some of us are working from home and our rhythms are different, and it's allowing for that space. But as restrictions are loosening a bit, and as things are starting to turn back to what we would call the normal, the busyness of our day-to-day lives are starting to encroach. And for some of us, it's going to require quite a bit more effort to be able to establish and set apart our sacred times. And I can't help but think that these things are true not just today, but in times past. I can remember when Jesus was traveling with his disciples and going from city to city, doing a great work of both healing and preaching and being present with the people, that there were not also times where Jesus would even leave the comfort and presence of his disciples to step away, to perhaps go to a mountaintop where he would be alone, and that he would be in the presence of God, the Creator, and being present in prayer. And it is from this time of presence and prayer, and out of that time of presence of prayer, that we see many of the great works that Jesus did, that they are not separate. And so as we consider the life that we desire to live, that life of being both of being ones who are aware of justice issues and being aware of places and issues in our community, and being actively involved with that as agents of God's work in this world, that we cannot do that without also identifying our spaces of sacred time with God. And it is in those sacred times that we must be honest with ourselves and aware of the things that come in and encroach upon there. And so as I consider, and as we consider this today, what are the things that have become urgent, that have tried to replace your times and space of holiness with God and presence with God in order to cause you to rush out of? And how might you consider those things and to recommit and to reaffirm your commitment to being present with God for times during the day? As a parent of a newborn, my system has been changed quite a bit because our little 13-pound bundle of joy has a tendency to cause for us to be in a place of urgency all the time. Is he crying? Is he sleeping? Is he eating enough? And so for me, getting up a bit earlier than I tend to want to get up is a way in which I am able to create that space. And what does that space look like for you? And what is required of you? I'm reminded of a preacher who once says that we can't hide behind the guise of praying all the time and praying without ceasing. It says we can't really pray all the time everywhere until we have learned to establish to pray some of the times somewhere. And so I encourage you and challenge you today to find that space. And maybe this midweek pause is that for you on Wednesday. But as we move forward throughout the day, I challenge you to consider what that time looks like on other days. And if you have a time or a way that works, please leave it in the comment section and share it with us that we may rejoice with you and maybe even try some of those practices with you also. And so blessings to you as we seek to find those special places that we spend with God, uninterrupted by the urgency of today. Blessings.